And I'm back with more Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. We've gotten Luke Atmey to take the stand again, so let's go. My sis? Could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then she's still alive? Inside your heart. Nicky boy! Oh, is it true that Detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definitive proof, but he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atmey want to kill King Bullard? Oh, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. That's gotta happen sooner rather than later. Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atmey, please take the stand. Well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer? I never would have thought you'd be acting so recklessly. Couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you the perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Mask to Mask. I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Atmey has no idea what you mean. Of course, I have been in the next courtroom over since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could have known what was going on in here. You've been in the defendant's seat all day, correct? Being tried as Mask to Mask. Indeed, truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles on my finger, for example. So you continue to insist that you are in fact Mask to Mask? Of course I do. Very well then. Let's begin with a simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at the time? One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry, I won't hold it against you, Sir Judge. Thanks. All right, Mr. Atmey, the night of the murder. Speak. We're all ears. As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. I was stealing the urn as Mask to Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. At the time in which the camera captured Mask to Mask was the same time as the murder. It seems the main point of discussion will be the photo of the crime scene. Everything else will be part of this plan. There has to be a secret in this picture as well. Even the great Mask to Mask can't be in two places at once. Now that, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atmey, we still have to do the cross-examination. A fool that is foolish to know that he is a fool. I think he's trying to say you're full of it, Nick. He's trying to do his best Franziska impression. The only thing full of it is his alibi. I was stealing the urn. Let's see. Second statement, third statement. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent the card out before you began your security watch, or after you began it. Indeed, there was no reason why I couldn't do two jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. Truly are evil, aren't you? Well, evil is what I am. Is there something odd about this? Detective Atmey was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect persona. It is kind of odd. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence, correct? Indeed it is, that's it! The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing, huh? When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that's almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose. He was simply caught by the very camera he'd set up. We all have days like that. Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. Life's truly an ironic thing. A sad blue melody. I better gather more information. There's gotta be something phony about the photo. No, I've done that. About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now, it's all too clear what you're thinking. You think I'd altered the timestamp of the photograph. I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was the staff that printed the picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. Looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So the alibi's false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed him. I'm not spotting anything really unusual. There's two possibilities, either mask to mask and the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. Huh? Oh. It says press 2 and 3. I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing here. Okay, I pressed that one. But I pressed this one too. What the heck, game? Come on, game. Ah, there we go. Are you implying that this picture's a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about it. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night before it took place, and there's something about this photo that doesn't match my memory. Very well, let's hear what you have to say. The funny part is right here. Why, this is a bloodstain! Now this piece is getting... no, it's actually paint. Just paint. From blood to peaches. That judge loves to go into his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. Turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. Well, Mr. Wright, what is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stain? The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive in the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue was the perfect size to cover up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there the night the theft took place and saw the statue in the spot. If the picture was truly taken on that night, the statue would have been there. But when I went there the day after the theft, a statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was something pushed there accidentally. Your Honor, the statue's slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it. In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason why it was moved that night? Never mind who moved it. The real question is why. I hope you're prepared with your answer. Who was the one who moved the statue? The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke Atmey. Come now, sir, lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions. What basis do you have for them? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That's indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the statue, here's where the battle really begins. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move the statue? You pretended to be masked to mask, to create an alibi showing you were at Lordly Taylor. By this photograph, it contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would have been exposed like a cheap film in a drugstore. So you had to move it. Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does that exist? Naturally, the lie is in the timestamp. What do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atmey went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to be at Lordly Taylor. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, when the statue was placed beside the warehouse door. Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse the day of the crime, and it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Atmey had already decided the time when he was going to kill the victim, and so, in order to create an alibi, he took the picture days before the murder took place. What the... Of course, the statue had yet been brought down to the basement warehouse. So, on the day of the crime, he must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory. Because something was not supposed to be. Had been brought down to the place it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atmey had to move the statue the night of the murder. He did so to make the room match the way it had been in the photo. Order! Is this true? One moment. Have you forgotten this? The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by Lordly Taylor's staff. However, the program used to manage the data was yours. That alone would have been allowed you to tamper with it. Order! Mr. Godot, what's the meaning of this? I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down! My 11th cup. I promised to drink no more than 17. Which means I'm still good till the last drop. The defense is a very good point. A good point. So what? We're all but travelers on a road of infinite points. I think he's got his points mixed up. So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time? And the statue was moved in order to match. That's very interesting. However, there's one point that can't be denied. That is only a possibility. Men that are trapped in our chains of maybe can never reach their full dreams. Don't fall for that. Mr. Mask the Mask. Yes? There's no funny business in your actions. There should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it. Please provide the court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn. I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box and Zvarri! It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I went and sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure the crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time on the 1 a.m. October 12th. It's pretty much all the stuff we heard before, wasn't it? We will find out the truth is hidden in those nuggets of new information. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time? Zvarri! Very well then, you may begin your cross-examination. Third or sixth? Mr. Atmey, if you really are Mask to Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course! Is there a problem with it? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card. Take good care of the speckled urn? No, this speckled here. Surely refers to this pink pattern. Yes, so what? Truth be told, there's no way Mask to Mask could have known about it. What do you mean? This pink splotched pattern is actually nothing more than pink stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken. I'm not finding this joke very funny, Mr. Trite. The day the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. You can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the pink pattern. Which means Detective Atmey had seen this urn long before the crime had taken place. In fact, he saw it when the fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself? Alright, he's did it. He's broken. Nick, I think it's a little early for a victory pose. So sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction? Yesterday we all decided unanimously this man was Mask to Mask. And now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? Don't fall for that! You say Luke Atmey was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then let me ask you something. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright. Motive. Might you, my merry murderer's motive manifest? He's getting a second wind. If he's prepared an alibi to pin the crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive is Ron Delight. Isn't it right, Detective? Indeed. According to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Maybe you can enlighten us as to what the motives were. I'd be honored to, sir, old-timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard evidence, this may be our only chance. Alright. getting to the nitty-gritty here. And I'm going to save it and call it a day. See you guys next time.